Hey guys, I know that a lot of you guys said that you had paintbrushes, but you don't have any paint. So today I want to show you guys how to make a wash using coffee. You can also use tea, or you can use hot cocoa, anything that will dissolve in water, spices. Anything that will dissolve in water to make some sort of color or shade will work with this technique. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start out with warm water and whatever you're going to be dissolving in said water. So I've already got my warm water, and I don't know if y'all can tell, but I don't have very much in there. The more water you have in here, the lighter the color is going to be, all right? Or the more you're gonna have to add of this. So I'm gonna add my coffee, and I'm gonna be very generous with it because I have really, really cheap coffee. Please, if you're using your parents' expensive coffee, ask first and don't use as much. Alright, so gotta put a lid on this guy. If you don't have a lid, just leave it there to steep. Stir it up a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of stir mine. I already made one of these, so I would suggest maybe leave yours to sit for maybe like 10 or 15 minutes. Let it soak in there. I already have one done right here, right? But what you're gonna want to do after this finishes steeping is you are going to want to get those coffee grounds out because you don't want those to get stuck in your paintbrush. So after you're done steeping, after about 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to get a paper towel. You're going to lay it over the cup that you want it to eventually be in. And you're just going to pour and the coffee grounds will be filtered out of the water. You can also use a coffee filter if you want to be fancy. All right, so basically what we just did was we made coffee. Yeah, but we're not gonna drink it, probably. I mean, you can if you want, but I wouldn't. We're gonna use it for artistic purposes. So I'm gonna change views and show you what I'm gonna do with this. Hey guys, so I want to show you guys one just thing you can do with this cool wash that you've made to kind of stay loose. You are going to need a paintbrush for this. If you don't have a paintbrush, you might be able to just drop bits of it on the paper and just kind of like move it around with your finger or move it around. If you have like a straw or if you just want to blow on it, you can create some of these kind of forms and shapes. But you basically want to get it on the paper somehow. You might find that yours is a little lighter than mine or a little darker than mine. You might find that your paper might crumple a bit. Just do the best with what you've got. If you want it to be a little darker, you can repeat the process that you did a moment ago and just add a little bit more coffee or filter out a little bit more of the water. That'll make it darker. If you want it to be a little bit lighter, then what you can do is just add a little bit more water to it. Just be careful not to add too much water because it'll diffuse it very, very quickly. You can also layer. So you'll see that I have this already created from before. So I can go back in and I can add darker areas on top of that just by adding in a second layer. So I'm kind of right now, I'm just kind of letting this be like an amorphous sort of shape. I'm just kind of letting it do what it wants to do. I'm not really trying to control it. I'm not really trying to decide where I want it to go. I'm just kind of letting it do its own thing. If you want to stay loose, this is a really good way to do it. I like to start when I'm just trying to stay loose. I just like to start putting color on the paper and just kind of seeing what it does or where it goes. Some of my students may have played games before where you do like a scribble and then you have someone else basically come and complete it. This is a similar sort of idea. So you're the one creating the scribble, but you're also going to be the one completing it. So you're just kind of letting it go where it wants to go, letting it do what it wants to do. And then after this dries, we're going to come back and we're going to go in and start adding details. Now, if you can already start seeing a shape, like I think, let's see. I see like a weird like ghosty, here's a smile, here's two eyes, weird like a ghosty shape. Over on this side, let's see. Maybe I can see like some sort of like sea dragon kind of shape, maybe some like coral reefs. So if you can already start kind of seeing a shape, then you can kind of add in some shading and maybe bring that out. If not, just wait till it dries and we'll come back to that and see what we can make out of it at that time. So we're gonna let it dry and then we're gonna come back with it with either a pen or a Sharpie in a little bit, all right? Hey guys, just wanted to give you kind of an in the middle update. This was my first random shape. This was my second random shape. And I wasn't feeling particularly inspired by those two, so I started creating another one, and I'm starting to see like a crawfish coming out of this guy. So I was like, man, I really want some more colors on there. So I did some experimentation, and this bright, bright, bright yellow that you see right here is turmeric. Yeah, so in case you're curious, if you guys have any curry spice in your cabinet, curry spice generally has turmeric in it, and it can help give you that really vibrant yellow color. I also was like, man, I really wish I had like some red. So I tried cinnamon, not so successful. As you can see these little grainy bits right here, this is all cinnamon, wasn't super successful. So I also wanted to show you guys this wash technique that I'm showing you is also something that you can do, like if you really like this technique and you're like, I really like this, but I don't want to have to use my spices every time, and you have maybe some actual art supplies lying around. This is also a technique that you can use with ink, like India ink, and you just mix it with a little bit of water, and depending on how much water you mix it with, it makes the ink darker or lighter. Just be careful, ink is very, very, very stainy. So whatever surface you get this ink on, it's gonna stay on. So just be careful. And so your ink is like, my ink, I have it very dark. So if you wanted it to be lighter than this, same thing with the spices in the coffee, you would just add a little bit more water to it. All right. And the reason they call this a wash technique is because you're gonna come back and do several washes to build up shading. So maybe I don't have it quite as dark as I want it in the very beginning, but I'll come back after it dries and I will come back and add another wash over that to help darken out where I want my shading to be. All right, so just some techniques for you. I'm still gonna keep letting this dry. Whenever it finishes drying, I'm gonna come back and attack it with a pen. All right.